Hello, welcome to the Introduction to Business Operations and Management module class. Today, we are going to talk about the project management. So, what are we going to cover today? First, we are going to have here the main outcomes of this session. First, we are going to cover the definition of the project, and then we will discuss the details of principles of project management. And in the second part of this session, we are going to discuss the quality control processes. Let's see the possible outcomes are expected as a result of this session. First, what is a project? What are the project characteristics and project management definition? And as a process, we are going to analyze the project management and the types of the project management methodologies. And finally, quality control process is going to be base of this session. Let's start by the definition of the project. I think several things comes to your mind in terms of project. It is a part of our real life work. So sometimes we handle with the projects in our workplaces. In that case, what is this? What is project? How will we define it? Even though there are several definitions of the project, or we can produce the several definitions, we are going to use the two definitions coming from Project Management Institute and Association of Project Management. The first one, as you can see, Project Management Institute proposes a definition. It is a temporary effort to create a unique product, service, or outcome. As you know that when we have defined the business, in order to run a business, you need to produce goods, services, and advices or opinions. And that means that as a result of the process, you need to have some output. These output can be good, services, or something else. So the purpose is that in order to do this, you effort, and this is called a project. Of course, you think that the project does not take lifelong, right? So it is a time-bounded operation is handled by the people. So this is the definition of Project Management Institute. A very simple, a very brief definition. A project is a temporary effort aimed at creating a unique product, service, or outcome. On the other side, we have another definition was provided by Association of Project Management. And according to that, a project is an effort in human and financial resources that are organized in a unique way with the aim of deliver a distinctive scope of work, often within cost and time limitations, and characterized by quantitative and qualitative goals. As it is always seen by the definition was provided association of the project management. It's a broader definition, which also gives the references to characteristics of the project. How? First, it states that it is an effort in human and financial resources. So, in order to manage a project, or in order to be involved in the project management process, you need to handle with human and financial resources. And maybe with another approach, you may think that it's the resource allocation and resource management process. So it is organized. You organize the financial and human resources for a purpose, as we have stated in our first definition. You want to create, you need to provide an output. either it is a product or service or opinion, whatever is that. So in order to do this, within cost and time limitation, we take the actions. Always there's a budget for each specific project. Under the budget, the condition or budget limits, we take the actions, we operate. Another constraint comes from the time. The projects are performed in a time limitation. So this is another aspect of the projects. Time limitation. There's a cost constraint and time limitation on projects. So this is another definition comes from Association of Project Management. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a project? If you are talking about the project, how will you define the characteristics of that? First, as we have underlined, and the definition was provided, Association of Project Management, there is a time limitation. So it means that there is a start date and there is an end date. Some of the projects may take 1 month, some of them may have more than 1 year. So it depends on the outcome that you want to create, right? So, and also it depends on the resources that you have. Sometimes your resources do not allow you to finish within a specified time and the expected time. And another characteristic, after the deadline is reached, the project is deemed complete. So it is one of the purpose that the project managers expect in a given time before the deadline or on a time during the deadline process. The project is supposed to be completed. And if you are coming to end, yes, the deadline is end. Yes, and they try to achieve something new or update an existing project. Actually, the project mostly less thing that you have a company and you have a product, you want to upgrade it, or you want to create a new product, and you can develop a project theme to develop a new product. So as you can see that it aims to get something new. It might be a new product, it might be a new process, it might be a new organization, it might be a new technology, it might be a new approach. So something new is trying to be achieved by the project management and the project process. So in a project, if you are talking about the project, of course, at the beginning you have a purpose to achieve, but the level of the risk and uncertainty is often high in a project process. You want to reach the end of the project by obtaining the outputs, but on the other side, there is always risk and uncertainty to do that. Yes, you take some actions, you manage your project in current circumstances and the conditions, and so you are highly influenced by these conditions. So it affects the risk position and certainty and uncertainty in your position. All right, if this is the project, what is the project management? Okay, with respect to the characteristics of the project, you may think that project management is the management of the resources to achieve the project objectives. Right? Actually, if you remember the definition of the management is the process of achieving organizational goals by using organizational resources through with people. So here again, in project management process, it is a resource management. As the owner of the project, if you are, You are supposed to allocate the resources that you have, financial and human resources, or even the natural resources. You are supposed to allocate to the very various group of people to perform. But on the other side, as an owner of the project, you are supposed to manage the time to finish project. Sometimes, and some of the specific software programs can be used that, or traditionally you can use Gantt chart or the other type of the tools to follow your project. But the critical point is here. First, managing your resources. If you assume the time is a type of resource, so you are supposed to manage time as well in this process. And the main issue, the main concern is to achieve specific objectives of the project. Let's think that you want to create a new car, hybrid car, for instance. In order to get a hybrid car, first you need to have resources, the facility, research and development team, and you should have a certain time, within 1 year or 2 years, how long and the period of time you want to get this item or this output. So based on the output, you allocate the resources, organizational resources, to the project team. All right. So basically, the projects can be divided into two types. We may split into two types. And the one on the one side, we have the engineering project and the management project. Actually, engineering projects are the projects, that which aims to obtain houses, bridges, roads as an output of the project. Mostly these are the long-time projects, right? It's not easy to build a house in a shortest time, or a bridge, or the different type of the roads. So you can create in a short period of time those projects. And some of the projects, construction projects, are also part of the engineering projects as well. One of the management projects. Management projects includes such as company restructuring or company redesigning, planning for an event, or designing an IT program. Is one of the most important projects for the software development organizations or information technology companies. Designing an information technology program, launching a new marketing campaign, and moving offices. You may think that the moving offices is an activity, is an operation, is not a project. Actually, it depends. If you don't want to break down your current operations, it is an important project, should be managed by the company in this process. Yes. So we have some methodologies and ensures approaches to project management. What type of methodologies can be based for the project management? As you may see here, some of the known methodologies in project management field. You see PRINCE2, PMBOK, Agile, and Critical Chain. Let's go over one by one what the approach and the methodologies in management project management field. PMBOK is mostly short for project management body of knowledge, and actually it's mostly describes the project management practices that are common to most projects. So it's just giving a common point, or how can we say, a basic structure through the project, right? It doesn't give the details. It doesn't give, so it gives a little bit flexibility to the project owner and the project manager. So it's a brief and short body of knowledge which is provided to project managers. Okay, And Prince2, it actually, as a term, it is used for controlled environment projects. And so it is a process-based project management technique that offers an easily adaptable and flexible framework for handling all project types. So this is a system, right? You may think that like it's a program. So this system interacts more with senior management of the operational and financial authority, and not just the project manager. So it provides a close connection with senior management and also operational side of the management. On the other side is already a part of all project management processes, and with the project management there is a close relationship. But here, compared to the PMBOK, it is more flexible. We can say that. Yeah. And critical chain. And if you remember, one of the characteristics of the projects, is about predicting the risk and uncertainty. Mostly, is not predictable to define risk and within the environment. So this is the software addresses this point, risk and uncertainty, and making it unique from other project management systems. As you have seen, none of the other project management methodologies and defines any condition for risk and uncertainty. But this is the unique point of the critical change. This is underlining the risk and uncertainty and providing some and forecastings on that. But this requires a process of project planning and management when taking into account the restricted availability of resources. So actually it's because of that, always we operate under the limited resources. So under the limited resources, we need to have a certain process of project. So on the other side, in order to manage this process with respect to the plan, we are going to have a management plan as well. And agile methodology, actually agile methodology is most widely used in software development industry. What is the most important point of this agile methodology? It is a dynamic process. It's a dynamic process. With respect to the change coming from clients, the organization or project team reacts positively against the change. So it's highly adaptive, it's highly innovative, it's highly dynamic process of the management. So, and as I mentioned, most software development projects prefer to use agile methodology. And it's most commonly used in small-scale projects or in cases where the actual results are far too complex to explain and establish before testing prototypes. It is the agile methodology. Okay, actually, mostly actually depends on the project, but number of the project members change depending on the size of the project. Sometimes it might be 4 to 5, or it goes to 9 members of the team in agile methodology. All right. So we can't separate the project management process from the quality control process. Even though we have slightly discussed the quality control process, I want to emphasize one more the importance of the quality control process, as it is related to project management process. The quality control process is a process of making sure if the provided outputs are at expected level or not, or as good as with the standards of the organization, company. And this is, that's why we design a process. This is called quality control process. It starts by planning and information subsystems support the control subsystems. As a whole, if you think any company as an entire system, first, as an entire system, if the control systems or the subsystems of the organization is supported by the main system and the subsystems of the organization. This is the first thing. And so the both are important for consistency, as control exercise was measuring if it is fitting the expected standards or not. And in controlling, what do we do? First, in planning phase, we have the standards determined for the quality for each specific job within the organization. And after an operational time, we measure the actual performance and actual output. If there is a deviation between the standards and the actual output or actual performance, we take some corrective actions. This is the process how quality control process works. First, we have the quality standard, and we implement the processes as it was designed by the company. Finally, we get the sample outputs from the process, and we measure the actual outputs to standards. And so we are going to have, if it is fitting the standard, it's good to company. But if it is not, as a company, you are supposed to take some corrective actions. Most of these corrective actions are managed by a project team if there is a deviation, if there is a critical mistake in a process. To show you where you should be, you need a plan and you need the information to tell you where you are. If either of these is absent, control cannot be exercised. So it's very good at which point you are standing now in terms of quality. Yeah, if there's a deviation, it's a whole process to be managed by the quality control managers. All right, at the final stage of this session and for the upcoming sessions, there is an homework, right? It will be better to make a research on that. What are the key concepts of effective operation strategy? And on upcoming sessions, we are going to talk about operation strategies in detail. That's why it will be useful to make a research on it. All right. So finally, what did we learn today? Today, we have covered principles of project management. First, we have defined the project and characteristics of the project, and then we discussed the principles of project management. And we have also covered the methodologies of project management. We have discussed the 4 basic methodologies, approaches to project management. And we have finally discussed the quality control process. So if you have any question, this is the email you can send me to ask any question. Thanks